Hello. Things have been going pretty crazy ever since WebSummit last week. We had a phenomenal week in Vancouver. When I look at that, I'm back at my computer. I want to take a little bit of time to walk through what we did on our booth day on Friday in more detail to talk about the concept of Vibe product management within the lens of rapid application development, fast feedback cycles. Let's see what we did. So right here, I am in our Summit Sidekick app inside Rhythmic. And we're looking at a series of interviews that we performed during the morning. Let me show you how we did that. So we, like every good product manager, the idea is you need to get your butt up, get out of the office. And that's exactly what we did. Let me pause and get the screen a little bit better situated for you. All right, I've got my screen situated. I've got lots of windows open, so I might have to do it a couple times. Right here, I'm inside Replit, which is the tool that we are going to use for fast application development. Like every good product manager, we need to get up out of the office and build things that are based on actual customer feedback, not our gut feeling. And so that's what we did. We wanted to build an app to help. First of all, we built an app to help with that, which is just a very simple, I'll give a preview of it, very simple app that allows you to quickly record customer interviews and it'll transcribe those interviews into text. Not a whole lot fancy going on here. Basically, I said, hey, let's create a simple app. We want a database with it. The app needs to capture customer interviews and bring it into the system. And I could take a look at that 1 minute. I'll show you the app live. So here I am in our very simple interview app. We should be able to see, hopefully there'll be some past interviews in there. We could download these. All it's going to do is very simple. When we're there, we start with a customer name. We can put an email in if we want, and we start interviewing, and then it records the interview. As we're bringing that in, it will transcribe. It's not working right now because I've got all these mics running on my system, but you get the idea. This allowed us to, again, focus on talking to people. So when we started our booth day, we had Corey and McCall grab this app and they just started going and talking to people. What were the pain points for the conference? What are some frustrations you had with the conference app? We figured we'd take something that we knew everyone there had been using, and that's what we did. And this allowed us to capture these interviews, like the interview with Bill. So you can see what's the biggest challenge. If we had an app for that, what would that look like? And he went and told us these conversations. That allowed us to provide the basis and foundation for working with Rhythmic. And I'm going to go into kind of our 1.0 release plan and walk through the prompts that I did to build the initial understanding of the system. Look at my video over here. We're going to zoom in on this. Let's increase this screen size, start a new chat. And I started, hey, Aria, we have been, fast forward a little bit. Hey, Aria, we've been at a conference and interviewing our customers about our app. What are some of the common pain points that these customers have been running into? So all we want to do is just take a look at our interviews and figure out, is there some common themes that we're seeing? And we'll kick this off, and it lets us know it's going to review the app. It's going out there looking at all of these interviews, and it's going to see what it can figure out might have slowed things down. Overlapping features, user find the app complex. We heard a lot of that. Lack of clarity, calendar synchronization, absence of web version, mandatory registration barrier, navigation and onboarding. So this you see has evolved. Actually, when we were at the conference, the thing that came up at the top, number one, every single time was networking, networking, networking. People were complaining. One, they're at a conference where the whole goal was to network. People were complaining about it. As we've added more interviews into the system, some of the common things have changed. We can ask you questions like, all right, so based on all of our conversations, are there any features that you think might help our customers really love our app even better? So again, we're looking to kind of drive this conversation against interviews, against our goals. Any document that we have is looking through our knowledge base to see if there's any features we need to address that might actually do that. So let's see, streamline navigation, doing some web version, gets a little bit, lots of information coming through, but it comes back with a question. So let's go back and read what it came up with. Better notification system, better calendar sync, shared availability and meeting coordination. Nice. So being able to coordinate with another user. That's actually getting to what we saw more when we were doing our initial interviews. I've since loaded everything in there. And again, that's weighted our conversation a little different. Web version availability. Is there anything here we want to focus on? You know what? I like the idea, just to continue the theme of what we worked on. I want to continue the conversation, and let's focus on calendar sharing and better ways to manage networking. And so one of the key things that Aria does compared to other, maybe just playing with ChatGPT, it does focus on interviewing. So I've always likened AI to that overeager third grader that's always going to answer you, even when it's totally making up stuff. Well, here we want to guide to bringing your insight as a product manager into the system. So the system isn't just creating random tools or features. And just for the sake of this demo, I'm going to have it just fast forward through that. So here it's actually identifying some backlog items that we should do. So I asked it to go through, focus on this user struggle scheduling, shared availability. This suggests updating a calendar sharing feature is what it recommends. And it's going to go build that initial backlog for us. And from here, we see that we've got our epic that it created along with some breakdown of stories. So I can add that to our backlog. We see that it pops in over here. At the bottom, we have our new incoming feature that we can prioritize with the team. We have estimated it. These estimates, again, are based on our estimation module, which reviews your team's past history. And so these estimates aren't just random numbers. These estimates are based on how this team estimates work in the past. And it will grow and get smarter over time as your team does more estimation, commits more products, gets things done, and will update its estimation model accordingly. So the other thing I want to do is what we did there. We've got some ideas. I like this idea. All right, so we've fed into the system what a good vibe coding prompt looks like. So I'm going to actually have it do the first initial attempt at that I can then take into Replit or whatever tool that I'm using. There's a ton of them out there now. Some are good, some less so. And here we see that it wanted us to build a calendar sharing, gave some descriptions. Again, things that we've seen and learned make for a good vibe coding prompt. I could copy this and immediately go into Replit, paste it, and work. And that's exactly what I did. Although the actual prompt was a little bit different. The video up here. Here, what we were coming back with early on was more stress around networking. And so we came up with the idea of building a gamified networking app. Now, I've done quite a bit of vibe coding, agentic programming, however you want to view it. Replit's pretty good. One of the better ones that I've seen. One of the problems you're going to run into any of these systems, again, it's kind of like that over eager third grader. They're really good at smaller, more focused things within smaller sets. They're really good at coming up with initial ideas. They're not necessarily great at building full-on production systems. In fact, if you're a developer like myself, it can get very frustrating when you have to go fix what might feel like a college student's first attempt at learning to program. That said, it can be really good when coupled with good developers. You can get work that is high quality, work that can get fast feedback, which is exactly what we did here. So we started with this vibe coding prompt around building a networking app and went throughout the day. You'll see kind of in the history, I had to make lots of changes, lots of recommendations. One of the bigger things that we saw, the initial thing, is it had all the passwords were unencrypted. This is a terrible idea. While it might be something that you would do early on, this is never something you want to put in production, even in a demo app like this. So I had to go through, and I knew enough not to allow it to do an encrypted app. But if you really are just going in there and have never vibe code and never program period, you might let something like that go through. So please make sure you're reading up, learning about good security practices, and checking what the system's doing. So we worked throughout the day, never were able to get something really work, but we were able to get something that was good enough to get feedback, which is exactly what I'm looking at here. So this app allowed you to go through, see people that were in the room. We had a QR code scanner so you could scan. We had tried to do some gamification so you'd get points based on how many people you connected with. That worked occasionally, but for the most part, never really did something that was usable. But again, we had a pretty good idea that we were able to get in front of some people and say, hey, is this something that might make sense for you, something that you would like? And then we used that to get feedback. So I'm going to take my best intimidation of a Julia Childs cooking recipe. And here is my interviews that we did following the actual event. To be transparent here, this was not real interviews. We had AI, ChatGPT, go and create some examples, showed them what the system looked like, and did some feedback. But in reality, what we would have done, put the app in someone's hands, allow them to use it, and then ask questions. Did this solve your pain point? In what ways did it work? What things were not going well? And what I want to do is we're going to copy all of these interviews in. We would have done this using the same tool that we did before. I'm going to go into the system. We're going to create a new document. And this is our follow-on interview. We're going to paste that, and then we're going to wait a little bit. It takes about a minute for Rhythmic to pick this up, index it. We go through a fairly complex indexing process where we break it down, break it apart, do summaries, we figure out hypothetical questions, lots of things to make the recall as effective as possible. So it takes a little bit for that to go. So I'm going to pause it. We'll come back to this being done here in the next minute or so. All right, we're back and we have our completed indexed document. So let's go see how ARIA changes now that we have a new document. So I'm going in, let's say we're getting ready for version 2 of our system. I'm going to come in here. Again, let's make this a little bit larger, start a new chat. All right, we had some follow-up interviews. Yeah, same kind of quote that I did earlier, same kind of prompt I did earlier. I'm going to ask it just to go take a look at what's in our system and give us some feedback. All right, so it's doing our research. Asking for data. Our data is in the so just check what's in our database. All right, that prompt finished. Looks like it did find what we needed, and now it's going through and let's see what we said. Based on follow-up interview questions around the knowledge base, had some positive engagement around gamification, strong demand for better integration to external platforms like LinkedIn. That was another one of the common things we heard. We want to connect to LinkedIn, connect to LinkedIn. Looks like we want to see that continue. Great. All right. I love this. Now we're just going to have it take that feedback and let's just build our initial backlog from it. Now in the future, we want ARIA and Rhythmic to be much more proactive. It will be running these kinds of queries in the background, bringing that up. So when you log into Rhythmic or when you get notifications, you will see what we're learning and what we're gleaning. We're going to be pulling in information directly from your users, building out a digital twin of your users so that way you can talk and chat and interact with them as if they're in the room, and then using all of these interactions to better drive your product management, create insights, and give you the guidance that you need to build phenomenal products. All right, let's see. Still working, creating some additional stories. Here's the initial feedback. I'm going to let that run. Again, the idea is that what we want ARIA and Rhythmic to do, ARIA is the agent inside Rhythmic, to be more proactive, to surface stories, surface understanding that it's bringing to your product managers, make it easy to prioritize, to decide what you're going to do, to communicate that to your team, get that feedback and make sure things stay on track as you're moving forward, and ask for insights that you're not normally going to be able to get. It's different from GitHub Copilot or ChatGPT or Claude or whatever your LLM is, and that it's more integrated into your product. It provides a better interface for you to directly start working with, plus integrations to Jira, Azure DevOps, and more planned. Lots of exciting things as we go. And this, again, is early days within Rhythmic. We have a lot more functionality we're going to be doing soon. Things are accelerating. So in a nutshell, we love vibe coding. We love vibe product management. Vibe coding and vibe product management can be very helpful in prototyping, accelerating, understanding what you're doing, but you still need a strong human to do both that's going to guide the system and make sure you don't get off track. Thank you very much. I look forward to feedback on what you think about ARIA, Rhythmic, and what we did moving forward. Thank you for your time.